Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Conti Moore Smith, and I am a family law attorney in the Central Florida area. And I am excited to be doing a judicial candidate spotlight. It is very important to me that individuals know about the judges who are about the candidates who are running to be a judge in the Central Florida area. It's important that people vote the entire ballot and that they make wise decisions about our judges because the judges impact our families and our communities more than any other position. So I am excited to have this series. We will be interviewing different candidates throughout the next few months, and I hope that you will continue to chime in and to watch this series so that we can make sure that voters are more aware about judicial candidates. So today we are excited to have with us Chelsea, Chelsea Simmons. So can we invite her into the chat? Hey Chelsea, how are you?
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So Chelsea is running for a spot on the bench, and we're excited to talk to her. So Chelsea, if you could tell us your story, who you are, and what has shaped you into the person you are today.
Sure. I'm just so excited to be with you today. Thank you for the opportunity. And, I grew up in Fort Myers. I have a brother and a sister. And, our parents really prioritized academics and community service. And so whether we were doing service projects with our church or with our school or through Habitat for Humanity or with the hospital, it was really instilled in us from a young age. My mom was a great model for service. She worked for nonprofit organizations and she volunteered her time with the elections office. My dad was a family doctor, and growing up, just seeing the care and compassion that he treated his patients with was really influential. He would sometimes have to leave at kind of odd off work times just because he might have a patient that was nearing the end of their lives, and he would want to make sure that they were comfortable and not alone or scared. And growing up with that kind of role model was really important, and kind of led me to where I am today. So when I went to UCF and was thinking about a career, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to be able to help people. And I figured a law degree was, the best way to do that, would give me the most opportunities to do that. And so I went to the University of Florida Law School.
Go
And
knows, but we'll forgive you.
all right, today we'll be friends now. So, I thought I would be a public interest lawyer. I'm a pretty big introvert, so I didn't really expect to ever step foot into a courtroom. I thought I'd be, working for some nonprofit somewhere at a desk doing research and writing. But I had the opportunity to do an externship at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and that kind of changed my whole view about it. I got to see trials and hearings up close and see how attorneys did their jobs. And I thought, I could do that. So when I got back to my last year of law school, I changed my whole schedule so that I could qualify for the public defender clinic. I was so lucky to be able to do that my last semester there. And that was really the best experience. It's truly hands-on. You have real clients. You're going to the jail to meet clients, filing motions, speaking in court. I actually got to do a trial before I was even a lawyer.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that was awesome. And I really learned that I loved having clients, meeting them, hearing their stories, and helping them, walk through what might be the scariest time of their lives. So when I graduated, I got my dream job at PD9 at the Public Defender's Office here in Orlando. I worked there for 12 years and I did everything there. You start in county court as a young lawyer, trying to figure out how to do the job and how to be great at trials. And then you move up through felony and into more serious things. I was a division leader. I got to go back to county court to be county court supervisor and help new lawyers learn how to be great trial lawyers.
So you train people.
Yeah. And then I got to end my career there as in major crimes, doing death penalty work. And then I left in 2020 to go to NEJAM Law, where I got to do the same kind of work, but I expanded to representing victims and families, seeking protection from the court through injunctions and a little bit of civil and family law, but mostly focusing on criminal. So that's kind of my background, and 18 years of practice really shaped my sense of justice and empathy and compassion for others. And through being a public defender, I really learned that you really can't make any assumptions. You really have to truly listen, because you can't think that what's going on with people. You have to listen and figure it out. And that served me well for client rapport there, and I think it would serve me well on the bench. So it's kind of just a little version of how I got here.
Well, that's an interesting story, and you can tell that you are dedicated to helping people, because public defenders don't usually stay that long. So for you to stay there, you said how many years?
A little over 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, how have you been involved in the Central Florida community?
Yeah. So as a lawyer, I do some pro bono work. I am doing cases with the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, helping returning citizens regain their right to vote. I also do non-lawyer volunteering. I love working at the Orange County Animal Shelter. And recently I've been doing more work with iDignity, who they help people get their identifying documents, and the Desire Foundation, both of whom are doing great work in downtown and across Central Florida. So that's been really fun. And I'm really invested in the local arts community as well. My husband is a writer and publisher, and I have so many talented friends in the visual arts and music and literary communities. So you might find us at Will's Pub supporting a local band, or at a literary event or an arts opening. Just today we were at a poetry event in Paramore that was put on by Page 15 and our local poet laureate. So that was a really fun time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I should mention that I'm a huge sports fan, whether it's UCF or the Magic, but we are major soccer fans. Yeah, we go to all the Orlando City and Pride games, and we sit in the supporter section. So we're those rowdy people on the north end.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, why are you running for this seat?
Yeah, I've been thinking about running for judge for probably 6 or 7 years. Once you've practiced before some really great judges, you learn what makes a courtroom run smoothly. You see the power that judges have to impact lives, and what a difference a great judge can make in your cases when they come prepared and really listen and, rule efficiently and accurately. And so, over the years, I've been thinking I could be one of those really great judges, and I see it as another way to serve the community. And I'm running for county court. They call county court the people's court. It's where new lawyers learn to be great lawyers, and where a lot of times some, regular people stand on their own representing themselves. And, I think that setting really demands a higher level of empathy and patience, and a willingness to listen.
Awesome. What sets you apart from other candidates?
Yeah, I would say my experience mostly. I've done over 100 jury trials. I am board certified in criminal trial law. I'm death penalty qualified, which is pretty rare here in Orlando. I've represented people accused of crimes and victims of crimes, criminal and civil. And I was that county court supervisor that really got to see the ins and outs of how county court runs. And I think that you don't get to be a great judge just by reading or learning in a classroom, or at trainings. You learn by doing. Mm-hmm. So you can't just memorize the rules of evidence or go look something up every time an objection comes up. You have to know the ins and outs of objections and all their contexts and all of their exceptions. And you can really only rule efficiently and accurately if you've been the one making objections for all those years, right?
Right.
So I think my experience is number one, and my compassion and demeanor is a close second.
So can you explain to the viewers what it takes to become a board certified attorney in Florida, and how many people actually have that certification?
Yes. So I've seen that less than 1%, and then I've seen that less than 2% of lawyers are board certified in the state of Florida. Either way, it's a very low number. You have to have been practicing for a certain number of years. I believe it's 5 years. And then you have to have done a certain number of trials to completion, certain number of felonies, misdemeanors, and all that. And I became board certified in 2014. First, you meet the qualifications, then you take an exam. So it's like another mini bar exam just in your area of expertise. Once you pass that, there's layers of ethics and professionalism as well, because the Florida Bar wants to recognize those attorneys that are experts in their field, but that also have a higher level of professionalism and ethics. So I've been board certified, since 2014.
Okay, thank you for explaining that.
Yeah.
What do you want voters to know about, and why should they earn your vote?
Yeah, I think I would say that I'm not a person who has always wanted to be a judge. Everything I've done in my life has been incremental, right? I went to UCF. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Decided on law school. Didn't think I'd be a trial lawyer. Did become, a pretty great trial lawyer, if I can say so. And then, you practice before many great judges, and you really learn what they do and how they do it and what makes them great. You can't really want to be a judge until you've had that experience, right? And otherwise, you're just interested in prestige and title. I'm interested in serving our community. I'm interested in being kind of the background of the court system and making sure that everything runs efficiently and fairly. My whole life has been geared toward public service, and I see this as the next step to serving our community. And I'm dedicated to our community. I've been here 25 years. I have the experience to do a good job. And I think everyone who comes to court deserves to have a judge who treats them with dignity and respect and listens to their claims fairly. I also, as I mentioned earlier, I think I have a judicial demeanor. I think I'm pretty quiet and even keeled, my friends would say. I tend to listen more than I speak. And I think that those are great qualities to look for in a judge.
Awesome. Is there anything else you would like to share with the viewers?
Yeah, just that I'd love to meet more people out at events. This has been such a great learning experience for me. It's my first time running for office. And I'm a huge introvert, as I mentioned, but I'm overcoming that in stages. And so I would just encourage others to step out of their comfort zone, because it's amazing what you can accomplish when you do so. And, I have to obviously mention my website, chelseaforjudge.vote. There's way more information there. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm on LinkedIn, so you can follow the campaign at any of those places.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Chelsea, for taking the time to chat with us. It was very good to hear your story and to learn more about you. For those viewers who are out there watching, please go out and look her up on her different profiles and on her website to learn more about her. But thank you, Chelsea, for coming. And we will have our next interview on March 24th. So make sure that you subscribe to our channel, or this post on Facebook, and you'll get an alert about the next interview. Chelsea, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.